Hi, Mark here. Tuesday, March the 10th, 8 a.m. Eastern, 12 noon GMT. US session now underway. Let's have a look how the market's looking this morning. US dollar index continuing the sell-off from yesterday. I've got support at 98.22. I've got resistance at 98.68. Strong sell-off to start and even tested the ascending trend line at the just above the 98 level, has bounced back. US dollar buyers have stepped in. If I zoom in on the hourly, you'll see the bounce. There you see the bounce off support, and looks like there is demand going into the US Open. Might see a reversal from the sell-off, and the bounce that we now see could continue. Buyers will look up at the 98.68 resistance level, but weak US dollar to start the US session. Let's have a look at the S&P 500. We're looking at the futures market, hour and a half until Wall Street opens up. And there you see a continuation of yesterday's demand for equities, a big gap lower to start the new week, but buyers did step in and fought back. Strong fight back yesterday, continuing today, having erased all of the losses from last week, Friday. I've got support at 6,763. I've got resistance at 6,879. Has come down a bit from that resistance in the futures market now, and we'll see if buyers do step in again and look up to that 6,900 level, which is a relevant level, or if there's going to be a turnaround again from demand for equities and we see a sell-off. Sellers will be looking down at the 6,763. We've seen it for the past 2 days, sharp reversals once the US session gets underway. We'll see if the same thing plays out again today in these two asset groups. Gold. Gold definitely fighting back a little bit from yesterday's sell-off, almost recouped the losses from yesterday. I've got support at 5,123. I've got resistance at 5,194. Buyers will look to test that 5,200 or higher. Sellers looking at that 5,100, but that support area has been guarded by buyers for now. Pretty much flat over the past few days, ranging between the 5,100, 5,200. We'll see if this is influenced, if gold is influenced by the performance of the US dollar now that the US session is underway. Brent oil, after yesterday's crazy day, sitting a little bit higher than yesterday's close at $92.86. I've got support at 87.79. I've got resistance at 95.42. And like I say, relatively flat following yesterday's very volatile day of a $35 range yesterday. Today, very much narrower than that, hanging around this level, and we'll see whether and what it takes for buyers to step in again to see a spark to the upside, back to that $100 mark or higher, or if we see a continuation of selling and buyers look to maintain below this $90 level. Buyers trend sentiment, in my opinion, all still favored to the upside and waiting for breaks, pushes, sparks to the upside, depending on what the latest developments and announcements are coming out of the region. Bitcoin. Bitcoin following up from yesterday. I've got support at 68.2 thousand. I've got resistance at 71.2 thousand. $3,000 range so far. Buyers will look up at this 71, 72. There's the high from beginning of March. It's just over 73,000. That's the route that buyers will be looking at demand for Bitcoin this morning, second day in a row, which is unusual. Again, you'll see if that can be maintained, if buyers can break out of this range, the sideways range that we are sitting in right now. Sellers will look to test, come below the 68,000. You can see the loosely formed ascending trend line has maintained. We'll see if that continues. That's sitting at around the 66,000 on the downside, but for now, buyers in control going into the US session. Good trading, and I'll see you at the end of the day.